It feels super precious to be able to gather in this way and to be in connection in a frequency that is open and receiving the grace of the true invitation of life. So the invitation that is coming forward here this morning is that when we recognize that everybody perceives life differently, everyone's having a different experience, and it can even seem like we're having a different experience of a situation that we're perceiving differently. That intelligence in itself gives us a really huge reflection of information, that if everyone is perceiving differently, if everyone is having a different experience, then what is actually true? Where is reality in this life? Where is the constant? What can we depend on? What can we rely on? Because we realize just very simply in that we can't rely on the mind and the belief of the experience that we're having, right? So much of this life can be bound in wanting to be heard and seen and understood, and feeling frustrated that we're not. Like, hear me, see me, understand me, get me. Make an ally with me, where we find a common ground, where we're both right. And so often that happens rooted in a story, in a drama, and often in making someone or something wrong. That's where a lot of collaboration can happen. And that need to be right. So in a way, the collaboration can be very much in the frequency of the victim. Let's join together in the frequency of being a victim to life. Let's join together in what's hard in life, and let's commiserate together. And so there are many threads appearing on the on the horizon right now. But then one of the places that we find in life, as we're in this opening, is that we feel hesitant to speak our truth, that we would maybe rather set ourselves on fire to warm someone else's ego and join the victim mentality for the sake of belonging. Just to notice how easy it is to set yourself on fire, to just dull your light, to leave yourself, abandon yourself, reject yourself in order to belong, in order to avoid a real conversation or avoid something that feels scary, right? So we're longing for this freedom. We're longing to live this reality. And yet so many of the ways that we've been conditioned and what we've learned of how to live in this collective of humanity, asks us to leave ourselves, or we believe that, let's say. Life is never asking us to leave ourselves. Life is offering us the most incredible graced invitation to be free. Everything is offering us this possibility to free ourselves from resonating at the frequency of the victim. And when we see that everyone is perceiving life differently, you can even be having an experience like in the relational field with the same person and be having a completely different experience. And you can be absolutely convinced that I'm right, but someone else isn't having that experience. And so what's that about, right? It's that we are seeing life through the filters of our protections, of our conditionings, through the filters of our karmas of karmic resonance. We're seeing life through the filters. We're not seeing life as it is. And in a way, as we are opening to true nature, and we're seeing through all of the ways that discord arises in our field of experience, we're unifying and undividing the lived experience of life. And we're undivided from the need to be right. We're undivided from the belief that we are wrong, because the need to be right is trying to cover up the belief that we're wrong, right? That's the shame and the guilt. And we are being given this possibility to let go of division, which is the belief in victim perpetrator, the belief that there's that somehow life is happening to me. So the other part of this is that in the lived human experience, we are where we are. And the human experience, let's say the human condition, is the experience of being a victim, that life is hard. The condition, the human condition, not the human being, not the true human experience. But the human condition is the lived human experience, empty of connection to the divine source. It's the condition is a protective stance, a learned protective stance, which believes that there is division from God and glory, a division from love, a division from wholeness. And in a way, our lived experience is about unifying our human lived experience, integrating everything through the living of life in order to be a frequency of love and reality, so that that's what we are living. And we realize in that we're not divided as an individual island, but we are absolutely an integral part of one whole fabric. And we discover that in our essence nature. We discover in essence that we are one. And the curious, astonishing, glorious and amazing thing is that all of our perceptions of life being wrong, of certain people being wrong or bad, disappear when we truly come to the essence nature, and we realize that it's only ever been our perception. And it's a karmic resonant field where we are carrying a multi-lifetime trajectory, and this lifetime is a possibility to rebalance everything into one unified wholeness, a frequency of wholeness, which is the frequency of love. So then, as long as we are trying to be right, make ourselves right, and hold that stance of being right, while holding someone or something else as wrong, holding that victim posture, that frequency of the victim, that's the frequency of fear, of division. As long as we're holding that, then it will keep cycling. And it will keep cycling, not because we're doing something wrong, but because life is giving us the opportunity to meet it again and again, in order to wear down the protection and the posturing that resists it. And the resistance can often be the posture of the victim. Let's say in the human life at this time, it's a very rare thing to let go of the posture of the victim, because the subtle threads of being wronged and the depth of shame and guilt that we are holding in a multi-lifetime time frame, let's say, means that to try to fix and change ourselves in this life, to release ourselves from that, won't work, because it's not a fixing, changing thing. It's not a processing thing. It's not a psychological thing. It's so much deeper than that. This game of life as a human is so much deeper than trying to fix and change and upgrade and work psychologically. We have to come to the essence. We have to come to the light for the actual true alchemy, to be able to transmute and transfigure at a multidimensional level, to truly alchemize everything that we are holding that is truly unconscious. And when we speak of the unconscious, we're not just speaking of what we have repressed in this lifetime. We're speaking of a multi-lifetime trajectory. And it's only when we really open to that, not needing to understand it, not needing to have the details and particulars, but just to recognize that the depth of the unconscious is so profoundly unfathomable. And it's not actually even personal, right? It's not a personal unconscious. It's the unconscious of humanity across lifetimes. And so what we're really dealing with in a human life is so much bigger than we can fathom. And so it's so much bigger than we can imagine that we could solve by a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a couple of counseling sessions and blah, blah, blah. We realize that we've been in this lifetime and we've been deeply exploring, and yet we can still feel like, okay, what's going on here? Where's the freedom, right? But then we would maybe say, well, yeah, where is the freedom? Let's focus upon the freedom. Let's focus upon the love, the essence, the connection to source. Let's focus upon the presence, the glory. Let's focus upon where the, like in the seemingly cloudy sky, where's that patch of blue, right? Where is that opening to the infinite, unbounded reality, right? We could be like, oh, it's a cloudy day. Oh, it's another cloudy day, another cloudy day. Oh, it's overcast, right? But it's this coming to the realization that the sunshine is always shining, right? And the radiance of a heart that's rooted in the divine is always shining, no matter what is on the screen. So it's seeing that patch of infinite blue. It's seeing the patch and that being the reminder of like, wow, right? In that whole crazy, cloudy, overcast sky, that little patch of blue, that little patch, there's some kind of life there that reminds me that somewhere behind this cloudiness, the radiance of the sun is beaming eternally, always, never switches off the brilliance, right? Never switches off its warmth and its glory. It's fire, right? The fire, eternal flame, the fire is always burning eternally. And it's about discovering this fire in our hearts, discovering the infinite, unbounded, eternal reality, and letting that be the compass, letting that be the frequency that allows us in our human experience to shine the light upon the lived experience and to truly let the lived experience be an adventure of integrating and undividing and, let's say, alchemizing, transmuting through alchemy, the unconscious, where we're not trying to dig into the story and get to the bottom of, and the kind of immersed and tangled in the details and the particulars. We're allowing the intelligence of life itself to alchemize, of the technology of love to include and truly transmute, alchemize, which is revealing, it's the revelation that the essence nature of absolutely everything is the same. So alchemy is about unifying through revelation. Mm. The victim will constantly be trying to fix, constantly trying to find subtle ways to fix and change. And yet at the same time, you know, we meet life where we are. We're not creating like an idealistic fantasy of living this reality. We're actually getting our hands dirty in this unfolding, in this adventure. We're on our knees, we're scrabbling in the mud jungle of life, right? We're allowing ourselves not to be in a fantasy of kind of transcending and trying to pretend that the grittiness of life is not happening, but we're actually finding the courage and the true capacity that we have to really meet life, to meet the grittiness, to go all in, right? Go in the ring, enter the ring with life, enter the ring with the all that is, and truly meet, come out of denial. And of course that happens as and when it happens. And in my experience, life's intelligence is what points us. We don't actually have to go looking for it or excavating or trying to process or understand it. But life itself, the intelligence of life, brings forward for us exactly what we're ready to meet, exactly in the way that will, we could say, even stir us, trigger us, enliven us the most. Because if we've got any way to squirm out of it, then we will. That's the human nature. We'll squirm out of having to face it unless we really have to, right? Let's be honest. Why dig into things or be with something that feels hard unless it's actually like really facing us? So love is serving us by putting us into situations that feel challenging. Our feelings of discontent, our feelings of frustration, our feelings of anger and sadness and grief and emotionality, it's all serving us. It's all serving our freedom, right? And it's not a case of, you know, the one that makes themselves wrong would like to say, well, if I was really free or if I was really mature in this, then I wouldn't be having these experiences. But actually, it's the complete opposite. That as we're truly willing, we're carried into situations that will continue to allow to keep coming back for all of itself. And of course, it will depend on our unique wiring, our laws of nature, and just the evolution of the soul, like how far we might carry this in this life. And that isn't like a hierarchical expression. It's just the nature of evolution, right? That we carry this as deeply as we have the capacity to carry it, which is why, as well, that we don't make any comparison. We don't suppose that we understand what anyone else's experience is or should be. So we don't marry ourselves into living in a way where we're trying to sort of do this together on the level of codependence, because our unfolding is completely unique. And so if we lose our kind of autonomy into anything that would ask us to compromise, then what we are compromising is our unique soul evolution. Like, we're here also in our human lived experience to want and be called into connection and companionship. Absolutely, we are. And it's through the relational field that so much of the dynamic unwinding happens, when we are consciously dancing, awake and aware in the relational field. But we can't truly be in the fullness of our own evolution if we are trying to stay connected with anybody, whether it's a partner or whether it's a parent or a child. We can't we can't truly evolve if we're trying to hold attachments on the surface of life. And in that we set everybody free to be in their true and deepest soul evolution, right? Mm-hmm. So then we also come to realize that the things that inspire us and enliven us, the things that we're drawn to, right, also are completely unique. The way that we perceive things, completely unique. Have you ever noticed that even your closest ones could send you like a song, like, hey, listen to this great song, and you're like, yikes. Nothing about that resonates, right? And you're like, wow, like, why did you even send me that? How could you even think that I would like that? Or, wow, how does someone that I love so much, like, wow, right? So it can be this, like, and let's use that as an example for everything in life, right? That we're so unique, that's why we're here to have complete autonomy and not need to be approved of from anywhere outside of us, right? That we come into connection with our true deep intuitive knowing, and we allow ourselves in connection to source to be resourced from source. So what we're speaking about here is how there's just as many ways of perceiving this life and understanding, attempting to make sense of this life, as there are beings walking the earth, right? And yes, we will find resonance, we will find overlap, we will find inspiration, we will find frequencies that enliven us. But let us always remember that what enlivens us is pointing us to something about ourselves. It's never outside of us. So the Holy Grail is not to follow anything outside us. The Holy Grail is to be inspired, enlivened, and to piece together who I am, right? The unique one that I am, right? To really come alive as the unique one that I am. Yeah. And if we are in, if we have any sense of separation and division, and we're comparing and competing, if we're in that frequency and we're looking for validation outside, we're looking to say, well, what does, like, what is that one and how that one is? What does that mean about me, right? And we start to then meet the ways that we judge ourselves, that we can feel like we're failing, that we're unworthy, that we're lacking. We're just finding out things about ourselves, right? We're just, we're just realizing, we could say all triggers are mine. Everything that is triggered in me is mine. Everything that's stirred, everything that's enlivened, it's all mine. It's all mine to be with. It's all mine to be with. And as we can be with what is enlivened and stirred in us, let's say our deepening, our maturing really is about how we can stay regulated and present and hold the charge in the nervous system, the aliveness of, let's say, the fear and the emotionality and the doubt and the guilt and the shame that comes forward, all of the ways that we divide, the sense of lack and limitation, deficiency. How can we hold ourselves in how we are judging ourselves? how we feel threatened, how we feel unseen and misunderstood. And can we keep bringing it all back in an undefended way without like projecting it as like fire arrows to anybody else? It can be useful to see the ways that we would like to make projections, or how we are in our inner conversation making projections, just out of curiosity. Wow, look at that. Look at the story I would like to tell myself here about who's to blame for this, who's making me feel like this, who's hurting me, who's threatening me, who's doing something that I don't like, right? Who's got my red flag alert up? And can I, instead of getting really engaged in that inner conversation that wants to embellish that conversation and get away from the squirmy feelings that are happening, can I just be with myself here? So in a way, the freedom is the freedom to actually be with life and meet life, to not move in the face of whatever comes forward, and to kind of mature and refine and grow in our capacity to be able to be the holding, be the love, be the inclusivity, be for ourselves what we are longing for, right? And it's not to say in any way that we're lacking when we can't, right? It's a big, big job that we have, an audacious and wild assignment that we have in this lifetime. And so let us celebrate the glory of that we're always doing our best, and that we're never getting it wrong, and we're not expected to achieve anything or get anywhere. Let us just let go of all ideas that we're going towards a finish line. Let us just scrap the whole idea of a finish line and be fully in the adventure. Because when we can fully be in the adventure, we can actually enter a level of humility and openness and willingness to truly just be with whatever life is bringing forward in the moment, and not be weighing ourselves down with these ideas of, well, that shouldn't be happening, and that's shameful that I'm even having those thoughts still. Surely I'm more advanced than this. Surely I should not be feeling like this. So it's like we take away all of the ways that we hold ourselves back from actually engaging in the fullness of the adventure of recognizing, okay, this is actually what's here. We come out of denial, and we stop protecting ourselves from actually truly being with what is arising in our field of life, what is arising for us to be with. Yeah. Mm. All of the shame, all of the guilt, all of the triggers, all of the threat is inside us. It's our own perception. All of the competition, the comparison, it's all inside us. And life is offering us an opportunity to find out what is inside us, so that we can meet it, let it rise up out of the unconscious, so that it can be met and held. We're always doing our best. And yet, as we traverse the uncharted territories of life that continue to appear in the ever-present now, we're also being given this opportunity to collapse our attachment to past And the holding on to memory, the holding on to the fear that is the attachment to past, and the fear that something will happen again, to recognize that we have this capacity that when feelings come forward, to recognize this is releasing, not repeating. And if we can be with it as it is releasing, we can bring love, the frequency of love, the all-inclusive, all-encompassing, welcoming, awake, aware receptivity to what is arising, and recognize the way that the releasing happens is through inclusivity, that the releasing of tension and karmic holding patterns, the karmic obscurations, happens through a repatterning of the field of consciousness. The intelligence repatterns the field in the presence of love, where there's the spaciousness and the ability for the discordance to map itself to the pure consciousness, to the true flow of intelligence. So the lived experience is to be unifying life. And so whatever arises is an opportunity to notice where is the fear and the stress. Where are the places that are arising that feel somehow in division and lack, limitation? Where is the shame and the guilt? And can I just be here with what is arising, with kindness and care and patience, and again and again and again, and again and again, until these parts of me truly feel held and can relax into an embrace of love. Collapse the karmic frequencies of the multi-lifetime trajectory. Allow true deep rebalancing and harmonizing to happen that brings us into a depth of freedom where we're not reaching for the stillness and the silence as a refuge and then kind of entering back into life, that we actually start to realize that there's no divide anywhere, and that we are always the still silent presence anywhere in the play of life. So we're not dividing anything in our lived experience.